I'm just sitting in the park this morning thinking about how many injuries we've seen from the first round of the Rugby Championship this year. Been incredible, the amount of injuries, particularly head injuries as well, which is not too good to see for those players, but that's another issue. We'll talk about the South African team now that Rassie has just named in Cape Town to take on the Australian Wallabies in the second test match of this incredible series that we're seeing. And I'll go through the team and then give you my views and opinions on it. So let's get into the show right now. G'day everyone, welcome to Inside Rugby with Mark. If you haven't been here before, I'm a Kiwi rugby fan living here in beautiful, sunny, hot Cancun in Mexico. It's Tuesday morning here, Tuesday afternoon in Cape Town, and Rassie has just named the Springbok team to play against the Wallabies on Saturday in the second test and round 2 of the Rugby Championship in 2025. So we've got only 5 players that have survived from that first test. So what do I think about that initially? Well, I would have liked to seen most of those players come back and be given another opportunity, because what I saw in the first 20 minutes of that game was really good from South Africa, and they just went away from their game management, which a lot of people I see online are agreeing with. So if they sat down and had a good debrief after that and decided that they needed to go again but change the game plan, I think that team could have done the job against the Wallabies this weekend. However, Rassie has decided that some people will pay for their actions, and of course there's also been a lot of injuries in the South African team, so all that has to be taken into account. So that's what my feeling is versus those changes that have been made. So let's have a look at the team now and have a look at all those changes that have been made. We'll start off in the forwards, and the front row this weekend is going to be Oxen Chair, Malcolm Marx, and it's going to be Thomas du Toit. So Thomas du Toit coming in there this weekend, and again, I think this is a great front row. I think they'll give Australia a bit of a hard time, particularly because there's been a change made in the Wallabies team, or there's going to have to be a change made because James Slipper is on a plane heading back to Australia, and he'll take no further part in this series in South Africa. So the Springboks have got a great front row in this weekend. Let's see how they go in Cape Town. Now moving on to the locks, and I think one of the things that Rassie has done here is looked at managing the time of some of his key players, and that's obviously something you need to take into consideration before the Springboks get on a plane and head towards New Zealand. So this weekend we're going to see RG Schneemann and we're going to see Ruan Nortje in the locking position. I thought Schneemann should have been in the team last weekend. I just like him coming off the bench. I think he's a fantastic player, an impact player who comes on. He's got that great offload that opens up defences lines in the last quarter of the game. And I think he was one of the players that was really missed last weekend, but he's going to be given a chance to start this weekend. So that's great for RG Schneemann. And as far as Nortje goes, well, he's brilliant in the lineouts. He should get a lot of clean ball for the Springboks, and from that they can create the platform they need to play the game that they want to play this weekend. More on that in a moment. And then moving on to the loosies for South Africa for this weekend. And on one side we're going to see Marco van Staden back. I thought he played well in that first 20 minutes. He was one of the standouts for me. He was getting a lot of work done. His work rate was very high. But like a lot of the rest of the team, at key moments in the game, he probably went missing as well. Okay, and then on the other side, we're going to see Franco Mostert. Yes, that's right. Unfortunately, no Sia Kolisi this weekend. He's got a knee injury and he's going to be out for 4 weeks. So not good for him. He's going to miss Eden Park, which is going to be a monumentous occasion in this year's Rugby Championship. And a bit of sad news there for Sia. Actually, I would have loved to see him play in that game as a Kiwi and have that opportunity to have experience that atmosphere and everything that goes with it, but he's not going to be there, unfortunately. And in this game we're going to see Franco Mostert come in and take on that role. I'm a little bit surprised with this pick for the South Africans. Mostert on there, he came on last week. I didn't see a massive amount of work from him, but let me know in the comments what you think about Mostert starting at number 7 this weekend. An interesting pick for me. And of course, Kolisi, he started at number 8 last weekend, so we've got a new number 8 coming in this weekend, and it's going to be Jean-Luc Dupree. And I know that a lot of South Africans will be happy about this. I rate the guy as well. I think he's really good, so let's see how he goes at number 8 this weekend, starting off for the Springboks. So there we go, that's the 8 that are going to start the game. A few changes in there because of injury and probably because of form as well. But I think the front row is really good. I can see the second row getting a lot of line-out ball and doing well in the tight 5 battle. And the question mark for me is going to be around the loosies. Are Van Staden and Mostert going to be able to do the job? Because what I saw last weekend from Fraser McWright and Tom Hooper was very, very good. And I thought they were a lot of the reasons that at times in that second half South Africa were put under pressure. Australia won key ball back at key moments of that game, and those two were responsible in looking back at the game now. And I've watched the game 3 times now, so each time I watch it I'm picking up something more and more. So there we go, that's the Springboks starting 8. Now let's have a look at their backline. So looking at the backline for the Springboks, and first of all we've got some injuries there as well. Kurtley Ardenser is out, Edwil van der Verve is out as well, and yeah, those guys will not be taking part in this particular test match. So changes up, and I think this is where we've seen the changes around game management for Rassie, and a lot of you talked about it after the game in terms of having Handré Pollard in the team to be able to control and manage the game, and maybe Willie le Roux as well. So we're seeing both of those. We've got Grant Williams back at number 9, and I'm so pleased that Rassie stuck with Grant Williams. I thought he played really well. They would have learnt a lot from this game. In particular, Grant Williams would have learnt a lot from that game at Ellis Park. So I'm really, really pleased to see him back in this starting lineup for the Springboks. And then the wily old Handré Pollard comes in at number 10. So it's going to be all about game management for the Springboks, and he's the man for that, of course. And then moving outside, Damian de Allende, Jesse Krill, who will be captain of the Springboks again this weekend. And then on the wings, we're going to see Kanan Moody, and we're going to see Cheslin Kolbe. So I would have thought Mapimpi would have got a run this week, but Moody is a very, very good player, and Rassie obviously keeps rating him, which I think is good for the Springboks. So it's good to see Moody. Let's hope he gets some ball out there and he can show everybody what he can do. Well, you know what he can do. Let's see if he gets an opportunity to do it. And then at fullback, it's Willie le Roux coming in. So really a settling backline, I think, for Rassie. I would have liked to see Manie Libbok go back in there again for this week. I just think giving a player an opportunity to redeem themselves. Some of you, or many of you, thought that Manie made too many mistakes in that game. I wasn't sitting on that side of the fence. I think it was a team effort of why the box came undone a little bit around game management, and you can't blame it all on Manie Libbok. So I would have liked to seen him get another go, but we're going to see Handré Pollard in there, and I think that's a safe and a good choice from Rassie for this weekend. So there we go, that's going to be the backs that are starting the game this weekend. Now moving on to the bench, and it's a 6-2 split, and let's have a look in the front row. So who's the front row that's going to come on? Well, it's going to be Manus van der Verve, it's going to be Bohan Venter, and it's going to be Wilco Louw. So Wilco Louw dropping down to the bench this weekend. And then we're going to see Eben Etzebeth coming off the bench. So I think this is all about time management for Rassie. He wants to make sure Etzebeth is going to be okay heading to Auckland in New Zealand. So bringing him off the bench, I think, is a good move. Also with De Jager, he's going to come off the bench in this game. So both of those two guys who started in the first game are going to get bench time in this game and just keep themselves relatively fresh heading to Auckland. And then the last one is Kwagga Smith. As I said in one of my previous videos, there wouldn't be a team in terms of bench that I wouldn't have Kwagga Smith on. I think he's exceptional when he comes off the bench. Some of you have been saying he's not making the impact that he used to. Let me know if that's your view, or whether you stick with me and think that he's still a really good asset to have on the bench of any team. And then looking at the two backs the Springboks are going with this weekend, it's Cobus Reinhardt. We saw him come on last weekend, of course. And Sasha Feinberg and Ngomazulu is going to be the other one. So that's an interesting call as well, I think, from Rassie. A playmaker who can come on late in the game if it's needed. So Manie misses out altogether in terms of the 23 of this team. So what do I think of this team? I think it's a really good team. My only question marks would be over Franco Mostert at number 7. Not too sure whether I would have had him there. I'm pleased to see RG Schneemann and also Ruan Norki getting a go in the locks, and it makes a lot of sense giving Etzebeth and De Jager some rest this weekend. And I think Marco van Staden deserves his time back in this team as well, starting this weekend. In the back line, I think this was pretty predictable what Rassie was going to do, particularly around Willie le Roux and also Handré Pollard. And as I said earlier, I'm really pleased to see Grant Williams stay in this team for this weekend. So there we go, that's the Springboks team. What do I think? Do I think they're going to be good enough to beat the Wallabies? Yes, of course they're good enough. It's all going to come down to execution, as we saw last weekend. Are they going to be able to execute the game plan and get that vital win that they need against the Wallabies? Now let me know in the comments what you think of the Springboks team. Any changes you would have had? Would you have gone with Mapimpi on the wing instead of Kane and Moody, or do you think Moody is the right pick? I think he's the right pick at the end of the day. I think he deserves the chance. He's been playing really good rugby when he gets the opportunity. Didn't have many huge opportunities last weekend, so let's hope the ball comes out to him a little bit when the Springboks have the game management under control for Moody this weekend. And it's great to see Cheslin Kolbe. Let's hope he's over his injury all right and he can get back to full speed for the BOKS and the back line. The other thing I'll be looking for carefully in this game too is going to be the impact of the Springboks bench. A lot of talk around that last weekend that they didn't have the impact that was expected. 6-2 this week. Will they be able to make the difference? We're down to sea level. We haven't got the altitude to consider this weekend. But what are the Wallabies going to be able to do? Because there seems to be a walking wounded group over there in the green and gold jerseys as well. We'll just have to wait and see what Joe Schmidt does with his decisions, and I think some of those are going to be late decisions this week. I have a feeling that Joe Schmidt's going to have to hold a couple of people back until the last minute, particularly Harry Wilson with that knee injury. So there we go, that's the BOKS team. I think it's a really good team. Of course they can do the job, they just need to execute on the field in Cape Town on Saturday, and like everyone else, I'm super looking forward to the game. So there we go, that's the Springboks team for Cape Town this weekend. Let me know in the comments what you think of it, and I'd like to read all of those and see what you think in terms of perhaps some different players that might have got the nod this weekend. I'll be back again soon with plenty more from the Rugby Championship series right here on Inside Rugby with Mark. Until then, you stay safe, keep enjoying your rugby across the world, and I'll be back again in the next video. Bye for now.